A silverback gorilla looks like the final boss of the forest. It can weigh hundreds of pounds, stretch its arms nearly 8 feet from fingertip to fingertip, and turn a quiet patch of jungle into chaos with one explosive charge. But a gorilla is not invincible. One animal on this list actually shares its forest and has left gorilla remains in its droppings. And by the time we reach number 1, calling it a fair fight will feel almost dishonest. Before we begin, like the video and subscribe to Wild Wonders. Now let's rank 5 animals that could defeat a gorilla. First, we need to define the matchup, because the internet usually skips this part. Our gorilla is a healthy, fully grown silverback, not an injured animal, not an elderly male, not a juvenile. Western lowland males average around 300 pounds, and exceptionally large individuals can approach 500. Their arms can span about 8 feet. The massive crests on an adult male's skull anchor powerful jaw muscles, and those long canine teeth are not decoration. A committed silverback can grab, drag, strike, bite, and charge with frightening speed at close range. But this is also where the myths begin. You have probably heard that a gorilla is exactly 10 times stronger than a human, can bench press a car, or bites with a perfectly known number of pounds per square inch. Those claims are usually repeated without a reproducible direct measurement. Gorillas are unquestionably powerful, but we do not need imaginary statistics to understand them. We can compare what scientists can actually observe: body mass, reach, skeletal structure, natural weapons, hunting behavior, defensive behavior, and the way each animal applies force. The silverback's greatest advantages are close-range power, long arms, grasping hands, dangerous canine teeth, and intelligence. He is also highly motivated when protecting his group, but he has limitations. He has no claws. He is not covered in armor. He is not built around a horn, a crushing set of carnivore jaws, or several tons of forward momentum. And although gorillas can fight brutally, they are not specialized hunters. Most of their aggressive displays are designed to prevent a physical battle, because even a winning animal can die later from one infected wound. So, could defeat does not mean the animal wins every single time. It means a healthy adult has a realistic route to overpowering, incapacitating, or killing a healthy adult silverback under plausible conditions. Terrain matters. Surprise matters. Motivation matters. A fight in deep water is not the same as a fight on open ground, and an ambush is not the same as 2 animals staring at each other from 20 feet away. The order is based on how consistently and decisively each animal's anatomy counters the gorilla, not on which species has the nastiest reputation. With that settled, number 5 is the animal most people will underestimate: the leopard. Yes, the smallest animal in this ranking is also the only one here with documented predatory interactions with wild gorillas. Researchers reviewing predator encounters with African apes have recorded leopard attacks on gorillas, gorilla remains in leopard scat, suspected leopard wounds, and several deaths in which leopard predation was considered likely. But accuracy matters here. Not every case is perfect proof of a leopard killing a healthy adult. In some incidents, scavenging could not be ruled out. One suspected victim was already in poor condition. Other attacks were non-lethal. So the honest conclusion is not that leopards casually hunt silverbacks. It is that leopards are a real predatory threat, and under the right conditions, they can attack even large gorillas. That sounds impossible until you stop imagining a boxing match. A leopard does not want to walk into an open clearing, announce itself, and trade blows with a silverback. It wants darkness, vegetation, broken sightlines, and a target that notices the attack 1 second too late. African rainforests are full of exactly those conditions. Dense foliage can reduce visibility to a few meters. A leopard can crouch low, approach silently, explode from close range, hook the prey with its forelimbs, and drive its teeth toward the neck. That first second is the entire matchup. If the silverback sees the leopard early, turns to face it, and has room to react, the cat is in serious danger. A large male gorilla can outweigh many leopards by well over 2 to 1. He has longer reach, enormous pulling strength, and hands capable of controlling a limb or the cat's head. If he gets a solid grip and keeps the leopard in front of him, one violent bite or crushing impact could end the attack. This is why a healthy silverback is an extremely risky target, not an easy meal. But an ambush predator wins by denying the victim that clean reaction. Imagine the gorilla resting near the ground at night. The leopard approaches from behind or through dense cover. It launches, anchors itself with claws, and bites into the neck before the silverback can square his shoulders. The gorilla may be stronger overall, but strength is useless if the airway, major blood vessels, or spinal structures are already being damaged. The leopard does not need to overpower every muscle in the gorilla's body. It needs to control one vulnerable area for long enough. The gorilla's social life also tells us that leopards are taken seriously. Field reports describe gorillas becoming vigilant, gathering around the silverback, moving away quietly, or reacting with fear when leopards are detected. That does not mean gorillas are helpless. It means evolution does not reward pride. If a predator is dangerous enough to injure the leader of the group, avoidance is the intelligent response. So who wins? In a visible, face-to-face confrontation, I would favor a large, healthy silverback over an average leopard. The gorilla's size and reach are simply too dangerous. But in a realistic forest ambush, especially at night, the leopard has a genuine path to victory. It has evidence on its side, not just internet speculation. That is why the leopard ranks 5th. It could defeat a gorilla, but it needs the perfect opening. And one mistake could put the cat within grabbing distance of an animal much larger than itself. The next animal removes the leopard's biggest problem. It is not smaller than the gorilla. Number 4, the tiger. A tiger and a gorilla would not meet naturally. Gorillas live in equatorial Africa. Tigers are Asian predators. This is a hypothetical matchup, but the anatomy is very real. A large adult male tiger can outweigh an average silverback, and some individuals can be substantially heavier. More important than the scale is the tiger's weapon system. A tiger brings 4 clawed paws, long canine teeth, a flexible body, powerful forequarters, and a hunting technique built around bringing large animals to the ground and finishing them at the neck. The phrase, 4 clawed paws, matters. People often imagine the gorilla using both hands, while the tiger attacks only with its mouth. That is not how a big cat fights. A tiger can strike and hook with the front paws, pull the opponent off balance, rake with the hind claws when bodies collide, and search for a bite at the same time. Its claws are retractable, so they remain sharp. Its body stays low and stable on 4 limbs, and its spine allows it to twist rapidly when the angle changes. The gorilla is still a terrifying opponent. If the silverback detects the tiger before the pounce, he can present his full size, charge, grab, and bite. His arms give him reach, and his hands create a kind of control that most of the tiger's usual prey does not have. A gorilla that secures the tiger's head or one forelimb could inflict serious damage. Eyes, nose, jaw, and joints remain vulnerable no matter how impressive the predator is. But the tiger has one decisive advantage. It is a professional killer. That does not mean the tiger thinks like a human fighter. It means natural selection has shaped its body and behavior around closing distance, controlling struggling prey, avoiding hooves and horns, and ending resistance. Tigers hunt animals that can run, kick, gore, bite, and crush. Their prey list includes deer, wild pigs, buffalo, and in some regions even dangerous competitors such as bears, leopards, and crocodiles. A tiger does not win every hunt, but every adult has survived years of practicing the same basic problem. How do I get a large, powerful animal onto the ground without being injured first? a gorilla's fighting experience is different. Silverbacks mainly confront other gorillas, defend their groups, and use displays to settle conflicts before contact. When combat becomes physical, they can bite and maul each other, and those encounters can be lethal. But a gorilla is not routinely rehearsing a throat kill on large prey. Now picture the actual clash. If the tiger gets the ambush, the silverback may be hit by an animal of comparable or greater mass, traveling at explosive speed. The cat's front limbs wrap and pull. Claws create multiple wounds, while the jaws search for the neck. The gorilla may grab the tiger, but now it must control a flexible predator that is attacking from several points at once. If the gorilla sees the tiger coming, the matchup becomes far closer. The silverback can keep his back protected, use his reach, and punish a bad lunge. A tiger that receives a crushing bite to the face or a damaged forelimb may abandon the fight. Wild predators are not action heroes. They avoid injuries because a broken tooth or damaged paw can become a death sentence. Still, when both animals are healthy and fully committed, I would favor the large male tiger. It can match or exceed the gorilla's mass. It is faster in the initial attack. It has more cutting weapons, and it has a reliable method for turning contact into a lethal neck bite. The silverback absolutely has a chance, especially in a frontal encounter, but the tiger has more ways to cause fatal damage and needs less time to do it. That earns the tiger number 4. At number 3, claws stop mattering. The size difference becomes so extreme that the gorilla's famous strength is no longer the main question. Number 3, the hippopotamus. The hippopotamus has no claws. It eats grass. It spends much of the day resting in water, and it is where this ranking stops feeling remotely even. A healthy silverback may weigh somewhere around 300 to 500 pounds. An adult male hippo commonly weighs several thousand pounds. Large males can reach multiple tons. Even at the low end, the hippo may be 8 or 10 times heavier than a big gorilla. At the high end, the difference becomes absurd. Mass alone does not win every fight, but mass combined with the right anatomy usually does. A hippo's body is low, wide, and difficult to destabilize. Its neck and skull support a mouth that can open to an angle of roughly 150 degrees. The enormous canine teeth and incisors are used mainly in defense and battles with other hippos. When males fight, they do not nibble. They gape, slash with their teeth, and swing their heads like living sledgehammers. Those clashes can produce fatal wounds even on another animal weighing tons. A gorilla has no good answer to that mouth. To damage the hippo, the silverback must enter close range. But close range is exactly where the hippo can turn its head, open its jaws, and catch an arm, shoulder, leg, or torso. The gorilla's reach is impressive against another primate or a medium-sized predator. Against a massive head driven by a multi-ton body, those long arms become targets. Near water, the matchup is even worse. A hippo moves confidently through rivers and along the bottom, while a gorilla loses much of its ability to brace, dodge, and generate force. The hippo can close distance through the water, trap the ape against a bank, or simply force it into deeper water. The gorilla is intelligent enough to recognize that danger, which is why the realistic survival strategy is escape, not combat. What about dry land? The hippo is still overwhelming. When agitated, it can charge at around 30 kilometers per hour. That is not cheetah speed, but a short burst from an animal weighing more than a small vehicle creates tremendous momentum. The gorilla might dodge the first rush, but dodging is not the same as winning. It would still have to approach again and find a way through thick skin, heavy muscle, and a low center of gravity. The eyes and nostrils are vulnerable, but they are small targets on a moving, swinging head. The gorilla could bite an ear or strike the face, yet none of those attacks is guaranteed to stop several tons of animal immediately. Meanwhile, one clean bite, one crushing shove, or one trampling sequence could end the fight. There is an important myth to avoid here. Hippos are not mindless killing machines, and they do not hunt gorillas for food. Most dangerous encounters involve territory, surprise, calves, or blocked escape routes. But the question is not whether a hippo would search the forest for a gorilla. The question is whether it could defeat one if a confrontation became unavoidable. The answer is yes, decisively. The silverback's best chance is to create distance, use trees or steep terrain, and refuse the fight. In direct contact, the gorilla cannot wrestle an animal this heavy, cannot safely approach the head, and cannot absorb the force of a charge. The hippo does not need better technique. It only needs one moment of contact. So why is it only number 3? Because the hippo is most dangerous around water and at very close range. Number 2 is an even cleaner counter on open ground, and its primary weapon points directly at the space the gorilla must enter. Number 2, the white rhinoceros. A large white rhino can weigh roughly 4,000 to 6,000 pounds. That is around 10 to 15 times the mass of a very large silverback. And here is one of the most ridiculous comparisons in the entire video. The hump of muscle over a white rhino's neck and shoulders can weigh around 800 to 1,000 pounds by itself. The muscle supporting the rhino's head can outweigh more than 2 average western lowland silverbacks. Then there is the horn. Rhino horn is made of keratin, the same basic material found in hair and fingernails. People sometimes repeat that fact as if it makes the horn harmless. It does not. Material is only part of the equation. Shape, density, speed, and the mass driving it matter. A pointed structure backed by several thousand pounds of charging animal is a devastating weapon, whether or not it contains bone. The white rhino's broad body also creates a terrible matchup for the gorilla. The silverback cannot wrap his arms around the torso. He cannot knock the rhino off balance with a shoulder charge. He cannot safely stay in front of the head. And unlike the hippo, the rhino's main weapon is already aimed forward during the approach. White rhinos have poor eyesight, but poor eyesight is not blindness. They have excellent hearing and a strong sense of smell. At close distance, they do not need to identify facial details. They need to detect movement and direction. When startled, rhinos may charge first and investigate later, which is one reason their eyesight has contributed to an unfair reputation for bad temper. A charging white rhino can move at around 40 kilometers per hour over a short distance. Now combine that speed with a body weighing 2 or 3 tons. The gorilla does not have to be perfectly stabbed by the horn to lose. A glancing hit can throw it. A shoulder impact can crush it. A hoof can finish the encounter after the first collision. Could the gorilla dodge? Possibly. Gorillas are mobile, intelligent, and capable of sudden changes in direction. But again, survival is not victory. After avoiding the first charge, the silverback still needs a method to stop the rhino. Attacking from the side sounds better until the rhino turns, pivots, or simply keeps moving. Biting the skin may cause pain, but it is unlikely to disable the animal quickly. The eyes are vulnerable, yet reaching them means climbing toward the horn and the swinging head. And the idea that rhino skin is literal armor is also an exaggeration. It can be cut, scarred, and injured, but not invulnerable is very different from vulnerable to a gorilla's normal attacks. The rhino's protection comes from the total package: thick skin, dense muscle, huge mass, a low body, and a forward weapon powered by momentum. The gorilla's best environmental advantage would be dense trees, steep slopes, or obstacles too narrow for the rhino to navigate quickly. In that setting, the silverback could escape and perhaps frustrate a pursuit. On open ground, however, the matchup is brutal. The rhino can close distance faster than its size suggests, and the gorilla has no reliable way to stop the charge or produce immediate damage after a miss. That makes the white rhino number 2, but it is not number 1, because the final animal can outweigh the rhino by several thousand pounds, attack from farther away, and manipulate an opponent with a body part strong enough to lift more than an entire gorilla. Number 1. The African savanna elephant. An adult male African savanna elephant can weigh roughly 12,000 to 15,000 pounds. Compared with a large 400-pound silverback, that is a mass advantage of around 30 to nearly 40 times. The elephant is not simply bigger, it exists in a different physical category. Start with the trunk. An elephant's trunk is flexible enough to pick up a small object, yet strong enough to lift more than 700 pounds. That means the trunk alone can move more weight than the entire body of many silverbacks. In a confrontation, it can shove, pull, swing, probe, and help control distance. The gorilla does not get to walk calmly underneath the elephant and choose a target. It has to pass a moving, muscular limb before it even reaches the legs. Then add the tusks. African elephants use tusks for digging, moving objects, displays, defense, and offense. A forward rush from a bull places those weapons above a wall of bone and muscle. Even an elephant without large tusks still has its head, trunk, feet, and overwhelming body mass. The height difference creates another problem. A gorilla is most dangerous when it can close distance, grab, and bring its teeth and upper body into the fight. But the elephant's vital areas are high, deep, or protected by sheer scale. The head is far above the gorilla's normal striking level. The torso is enormous. The legs are thick columns built to support tons. The gorilla might bite the trunk, an ear, or the lower leg, but causing pain is not the same as stopping the elephant before it responds. Could the gorilla grab the trunk? It could try, but that plan sounds far better in a comment section than it does in anatomy. The trunk is not a loose rope. It is an extraordinarily muscular, mobile structure controlled by the elephant. The elephant can retract it, lift it, swing it, or use the rest of its body while the gorilla is occupied. Even if the ape caused a serious injury, it would still be standing next to an animal that outweighs it by thousands of pounds. Could the gorilla climb onto the elephant? Again, possible is not the same as practical. There are few secure handholds on a moving elephant. The animal can turn, shake, rub against a tree, strike with the trunk, or crush the attacker against the ground or another object. The gorilla would need a long sequence of perfect moves. The elephant needs one forceful response. And unlike a simple battering ram, an elephant is highly intelligent and spatially aware. It can track movement, change direction, use obstacles, and decide whether to push, strike, gore, or trample. The silverback's intelligence is one of its greatest strengths against many animals, but it does not erase a 30-fold weight difference when the larger animal is also intelligent. In a real forest, an elephant would not hunt a gorilla. The two animals might avoid each other, tolerate each other, or react defensively depending on the situation. Even the smaller African forest elephant still massively outweighs a silverback. But for the clearest possible version of this ranking, a healthy adult savanna bull is the final answer. If the elephant commits to the attack, the gorilla cannot stop the forward movement, cannot safely control the trunk, cannot reach vital areas quickly, and cannot survive a clean gore, stomp, or crushing impact. The silverback's only sensible strategy is to escape into terrain that blocks the elephant, put large trees between them, and never allow contact. That is why the African savanna elephant ranks number 1. Not because it is a bloodthirsty predator, but because its size, reach, weapons, intelligence, and raw mechanical advantage make the matchup almost impossible for the gorilla. So the final ranking is this. Number 5, the leopard, because a perfect ambush can overcome a huge strength disadvantage, and real leopard-gorilla interactions prove the threat is not imaginary. Number 4, the tiger, because it combines comparable or greater mass with claws, speed, flexibility, and a predator's neck-killing method. Number 3, the hippopotamus, because several tons of low, muscular body and a gigantic armed mouth leave the gorilla no safe way to engage. Number 2, the white rhinoceros, because the gorilla has no reliable answer to a multi-ton charge and a horn backed by extraordinary momentum. And number 1, the African savanna elephant, because the size gap is so large that the elephant can control, crush, gore, or trample the gorilla before the ape can cause disabling damage. The real lesson is not that gorillas are weak. They are among the most formidable primates alive, perfectly adapted to their own lives and social battles. The lesson is that nature does not use one universal strength statistic. A gorilla dominates in reach, grip, and close-range primate power. A leopard dominates in stealth. A tiger dominates in predatory weapons. A hippo and rhino dominate through mass and specialized anatomy. And an elephant combines almost every advantage at once. Most wild animals understand something the internet often forgets. The smartest fight is usually the one you avoid. Which animal should appear in part 2? A polar bear, an African buffalo, or a saltwater crocodile? Tell us in the comments, and subscribe to Wild Wonders for more wild rankings.